Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Kassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the ascension process. Today, we're going to be talking about Virgo season 2022. This begins on August 22nd and goes until September 22nd. And all of my numbers people out there will notice there's a whole lot of twos going on here. So a really strong, positive vibe that I think we're carrying with us into this year's Virgo season. When we're talking about Virgo season, we are talking about the Western tropical zodiac. And this is when the sun is making its transit through the sign of Virgo. So I want to say happy birthday to all of my beautiful Virgos out there. I carry a lot of Virgo energy myself, and something I found really interesting when I was taking the YouTube for Astrologers class with Nadia Shah, who, if you guys haven't checked her out, is an absolutely amazing and world-renowned astrologer. She has a YouTube channel. It's incredible. I watched it a lot when I was teaching myself astrology, so definitely check her out if you have not. But she taught us that a lot of our audience is going to be people whose sign or energy really works well with the Virgo energy, or for me it was Virgo because that's my moon sign. So our moon sign attracts our crowd or our vibe or our tribe, I guess you could say, in situations like this. So I found that really funny because I do have a lot of Virgos that watch my channel, and Virgo energy resonates very well with me, that being my moon sign. So I know there's a lot of Virgos watching this right now who are having their solar returns, otherwise known as birthdays, in the upcoming 30 days or so. So big shout out to all of you. I love you very much. I appreciate you very much. So let's talk a little bit about the energy of Virgo and Virgo season before we get into the cards here. Virgo is the sixth sign in the zodiac, and Virgo represents the sixth house, or rules the sixth house in astrology. And my apologies, I have a phone call coming in there. I will silence that and get back to that. It's a little distracting when that happens sometimes. So as I was saying, Virgo is the sixth sign in the zodiac, representing and running that sixth house. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and I love the energy of Virgo because it's ruled by an air planet, but it is an earth sign. Most of the signs, the planet of their rulership tends to be in a similar element, if you will. Right? We have Aries ruled by Mars. That's a fiery element, and so on and so forth. The only signs that sort of deviate from that are Virgo being ruled by Mercury, and Libra, an air sign, being ruled by an earthy planet, the planet of Venus, which is very sensual, very earthy planet. So those two signs kind of bust out of the box, if you will, when it comes to that. And what that does for Virgo is that makes Virgo energy a very grounded mental energy. Mercury is actually exalted in the sign of Virgo, which means that although Mercury also rules Gemini, Mercury functions best in the sign of Virgo, because it can narrow that focus, right? Mercury in Gemini is very all over the place. It's very varied. It likes to learn and pull from a lot of knowledge, a lot of different facts, a lot of different sources. It likes a lot of variety. Gemini energy is often known as, what is that phrase that say, jack of all trades, master of none? My Venus being in Gemini, I can very much relate to that energy when it comes to my creativity, when it comes to the way that I, at certain points in my life, sort of related in relationships and different things like that. But yeah, so that's the energy of Mercury in Gemini. Mercury in Virgo is able to really narrow that focus, narrow that lens, if you will, and therefore is able to operate with a greater degree of precision. And so this season is very much about that energy of narrowing our focus, of really utilizing this energy to allow us to zero in on the areas of our lives that we want to improve. Virgo energy is represented by the Virgin. And what this means is it's the energy of purity. Virgo energy is always wanting to purify itself. It's always wanting to become better. Virgo has this incredible ability to see itself very clearly. Virgo can see their strengths very clearly as well as their weaknesses. They can see and evaluate what they do well and also what they could do better. And Virgo energy, unfortunately or fortunately, tends to focus on the what could be done better. When this energy is focused outward, it can be a bit daunting to whoever it is that Virgo is focusing their energy on. But most of the time, this is not, if a Virgo or someone with strong Virgo energy is pointing things out to you, it's not because they're trying to get on your case for no good reason. It's because they see your potential and they want you to be able to embody more of it. This is the same lens that they place on themselves. Virgo energy can be very perfectionistic. And as much as we want, not necessarily perfection from others, but for others to live up to their truest and fullest potential, we want that for ourselves too. And Virgo energy can be highly self-critical as a result of this. So during Virgo season, we want to be careful not to be too self-critical. One of the energies of mastery or lessons that Virgo energy comes into this lifetime to learn is self-love and self-acceptance. When we can love and accept ourselves as we are, but at the same time still see, envision, and understand how we can become better, a more fully embodied version of ourselves, that's the golden ticket. That's the sweet spot. Because then we're continuing to do the work, we're continuing to progress and improve, but we're not doing it from a point of self-deprecation. So working on that self-acceptance, that self-love piece, that self-care piece during Virgo season, the 6th house represents not only our service work, but it represents our job, our career, it represents our physical health, our daily routines and habits. And so these are all things that we're going to be focusing on during Virgo season. We want to take this as an opportunity to really look at our self-care strategies, to look at the daily habits that we have and whether those are helping to improve the overall quality of our lives and our experience on this planet, or whether those are hindering us or could be tinkered to become a bit more effective and efficient. Virgo energy is all about effectiveness and efficiency. So really looking at that piece as well. And this service piece, Virgo energy, much like the energy in the 6th house, wants to take their skills, wants to take their capabilities and use them in order to serve the whole. And so we're really looking at that with Virgo as well. How can we take our specific skill set and use it to better another's life and use it to create something beautiful, to create something that's going to be helpful to people outside of ourselves? Where is it and how is it that we are doing our service work? And what does that work look like? What does that work entail? So a whole lot of stuff. Jobs, our jobs, the ways that we make a living, these things may come into question during Virgo season for some scrutiny as well. We may be reconsidering some of these things, reconfiguring some of these things as we move along. All right, I think that pretty much sums up what I'm feeling we want to talk about right now for Virgo energy. This is another sign where we are absolutely looking at, because this is another lesson of Virgo energy, not only what our service is to the world or to others. A lot of times Virgo, the service of Virgo is witnessed best in the lives of the people that know them the most. They're really good at taking care of their friends, taking care of their families. But sometimes, like we said, Virgo energy can neglect the self in the process. So Virgo is meant to learn that balance. What is a healthy level of service? How do I serve others from a full cup? Right? So the season is all about learning how to first fill our own cup before we then share the overflow with others. And what do we want to start out with? I want to start out with some Shaman's Dream Oracles for Virgo for Virgo season here. And see what messages we have. This is an absolutely gorgeous deck. They're all gorgeous, but this one I really, really enjoy the imagery of. So another deck highly recommended to anyone who is thinking about purchasing or looking for something to add to your repertoire. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of the shamanic energies for this reading today. I think we might, well, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. One deck at a time here. We are going to start with the Shaman's Dream. What messages do we need to know? What does Spirit want to share with us? What guidance? What is coming through for Virgo season? All right. So we got a lot of blue going on, right? Look at the similarities in these cards, the tones of them. We have Stars in the Sky, Limitless Possibility, and Deep Diver, diving into a task. And I want to stop here and also mention that Virgo energy is famous for being the energy of the overthinker, overanalyzing and overthinking. This is another trap that Virgo energy can fall into. So we want to be careful of that during this season as well, that we're not allowing our brain to get on that hamster wheel. There is going to be a Mercury retrograde at the beginning of September. So during Virgo season, the planet that rules Virgo will be retrograding. And this is going to make it a pretty interesting season. So you guys, there'll be another video for that, but we may end up picking up on some of that Mercury retrograde energy during this video as well. We're going to feel that intensely with the sun in the sign of Virgo as well. And all of my Virgos and the other mutable signs, Virgo is mutable earth, will probably be feeling this energy pretty acutely. Geminis as well, possibly, since they are also ruled by Mercury. But yeah, this right here is, remember, we talked about Virgo energy and that laser focus, diving deep into a task, all right? So First Spirit wants us to know that there are a ton of possibilities out there. So we're being asked during Virgo season not to limit ourselves, not to limit the possibilities that exist for us. Sometimes being so analytical and so linear thinking, right? Mercury is sort of the more human aspect of the mind. Uranus is that higher dimension of the mind. And so we don't want to get our thinking bogged down by thinking too linearly. And what I mean by that is, logic has a time and a place, and it's very important to be able to utilize our logical mind. But we don't want to let our logic and our realism, for lack of a better word, limit our possibilities. When we talk about manifesting, we talk about this energy of not worrying about how something is going to come to be, not focusing on that, because that's when we're trying to control our manifestation. And that's where we get into trouble, and we actually thwart it from coming into fruition sometimes by trying to overplan, by trying to having that rigid control of. And remember, our understanding of what's possible and the different ways that something could possibly come to pass is so limited compared to spirits, compared to the actual possibilities that exist out there. So don't limit your possibilities by trying to figure everything out. Figure out what you can, take action around that, but give spirit the space to work. And don't limit yourself by saying, well, I have this dream or I have this thing that I want to do, but I don't know how that's possibly going to happen. That's just not possible for me. Those words right there, if you catch yourself saying, it's like those exact words, I feel like somebody is saying or thinking something exactly along those lines. That is not possible for me. And I think that this is like the middle ground that we get in sometimes when we're expanding our view of what's possible. Originally, we just believe something's impossible, period. And then maybe we start to realize that some people have done it, or we start to expand our mind enough to realize that all possibilities are actually possible in theory. So, but then it moves. It doesn't move all the way to fully into that's possible. It moves into that middle ground that's, okay, that's possible, but it's not possible for me. We want to remove the buts. We want to remove the always, the nevers, the buts from our vocabulary. All right. Rarely does anything good or constructive follow the word but. All right. That's where we're already making excuses. We're already backtracking. We're already creating resistance. So get rid of that resistance. Get out of that energy of that's possible for others, but it's not possible for me. It is possible for you. If it weren't possible for you, you would not be dreaming it. You would not be longing for it or imagining it. Right? Our desires were placed, they were seated within us by our souls so that they could come into full expression and fruition in this lifetime. So it's this energy of go outside, do some stargazing during Virgo season. Look up, do anything that helps you to remember how infinite the cosmos is. For a lot of us, that's staring up at the sky. For some people, I'm feeling like that's like going out to sea. You know, when you're deep out in the ocean and you can't see the horizon at all and it just seems like everything goes on forever. That's how it feels. That's how the sky feels when you're out west. That's what I noticed when I was out there. Out west, and I think the Midwest, they talk about that too. Is that what they call big sky country? Where it just goes on forever, just like the ocean when you're out in the middle of the water. Go somewhere in nature that can help you, where you can look at something and it can give you that moment where it takes your breath away and reminds you of how infinite this universe is, and do things that give you that sense of remembrance as well. And that's going to help you get into the energy of this as we move through Virgo season. I'm also getting like sit and meditate with an open mind and an open heart. If you are looking for a solution, if you are looking for a way, a next step, sit and meditate and ask for that information to be downloaded to you. And sit under the stars, because I feel like it's going to come from your star family, the inspiration there, or your higher self. Some people say that everything comes from our higher self, which could be very true. But remember, your higher self is a star person. So, and this deep diver, right? Dive deep into, really commit yourself to a task. And I'm feeling for Virgo season, Spirit is wanting us to get a real laser focus here. So it's wanting us to cut out distractions and cut out the things that are extraneous. So choose one or two things that you are really passionate about, that you really want to improve on, that you like areas where you really want to up your game, so to speak, and dive deep into those energies. Give that your all during Virgo season and see how much progress you can make. All right. Yeah, this lost in space on the bottom, needing direction. That's what this energy was all about. That's how you find that direction. And by diving into a task and taking those baby steps, taking those little moves forward, once you start moving forward, once you really dive into it, it's like, I feel like somebody, to use this analogy, say your dream or the thing that you're desiring or wanting is the water, is represented by the water, and you're standing on the edge looking down. It's like you're on a cliff, you're looking down at the water. That's your desire, that's the thing that you want, but you just haven't been able. It's like your feet are glued to the rock and you've been unable to jump. Virgo season, the energy here is telling you, jump off, take that leap, take that risk, take that dive, really immerse yourself fully in what it is that has meaning to you during Virgo season. It's really interesting. I keep looking at the jellyfish in this picture. You see the jellyfish there? I don't know why. I don't know if anything's going to come through for that right now, but I'm definitely noticing and paying attention to the jellyfish. What do jellyfish do? They sting, right? But they're very beautiful, very ethereal creatures, aren't they? And yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in that water, and not all of it is pleasant. There may be experiences, you may be opening yourself up to experiences that might not be as pleasant as you would like. Right? You may be opening yourself up to get stung, to get burned in one way, shape, or form. But think about all the good, all of the richness of possibility that you're opening yourself up to as well. Oh, whoops. Okay, shuffle those upside down there. All right. Oh, and we're still sticking with this blue, green, and black theme here, but getting a little more color in. The perfect storm, the courage to step into life. And it's so interesting. I saw a crow today, and I can never tell the difference between a crow and a raven. I'm not an avid enough bird enthusiast to know the difference. Unless they were sitting right next to one another, then I would be able to tell. So to me, when I see a crow or a raven, I feel their energy interchangeably. They have very similar energy to me. So it's interesting that I was watching one hopping around on the roof next door earlier today. So this may be a messenger for some people. Or their feathers. Their feathers. If you find a black feather, that may be a message from you, from your crow or your raven spirit guide. I feel like somebody's been finding feathers who's watching this. specifically black feathers. Ooh, but notice how this particular bird, there's peacock feathers as part of its plumage as well. That's really beautiful. So peacock as well. That was something that I did when I was learning to manifest and playing around with the energy. I didn't want to try to manifest a feather that was easily found where I live. So I set the intention to manifest peacock feathers, and I did, which was really cool. I had a friend who was cleaning out her apartment, and she had a whole bunch of them, and she asked me if I wanted them, because I was like, I don't know how that's even going to happen. But see, I didn't know how. I just set the intention, and then it came through. So something with the energy of that, like the energy of playing with your manifestations, playing with spirit. When I first started working with the laws of the universe and working with spirit and manifestation and all of that, it was so much fun. It was like this beautiful game, and it was so I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, as usual, right? But there was such an incredible energy when the universe would respond to me in those early days. So I'm feeling like taking it back to that early sense of wonder as well is going to be really, really healing. And really, that's going to be a way to revitalize if your relationship with spirit is feeling stale, or if life in general is just feeling stale and losing its magic. I feel like that's part of what the crow or the raven wants to bring to many of us during Virgo season. Is it wants to help bring back the magic where it is that you feel like you have lost this. And once again, what does this say? The courage to step into life. So we're really being guided. Take that step, take that dive, take that leap. Right? This the Chiron retrograde video just came out. If you guys haven't seen that, I highly recommend you watch it. And we talked about healing these energies of confidence, of courage. So it's like we're really, coming out of Leo season, which is all about courage. We're being guided and called upon to be courageous. And this is card number 44 as well. Once again, from my numbers people. We have 51, 10, and 44 here. And I feel like what this card is saying with the perfect storm is whatever is going on in your life right now, it is the perfect storm, meaning everything that is happening, even if it seems like chaos and you don't understand why, it's all actually perfectly orchestrated to bring you to a point that you need to get to. Whether this is, for some people, a point of surrender or a point of breaking, so that you can then, it's like you are in that process of getting ready to burn, if we're using the phoenix analogy. Whether it's bringing you to your rock bottom, bringing you to your knees, because that's necessary to get you where you're going. Whether it is removing everything that is no longer helpful. Even, especially, not just even, but especially the things that you are clinging onto, right? The things that you have attachment to that are no longer, that aren't meant to come with you on your journey, whether it's that, so it's losing friends, relationships, jobs, whatever the case may be. Whatever this is, this perfect storm, even though it seems like chaos, it is highly orchestrated to bring you to that next place in your life that your soul needs you to get to, where your soul needs you to go. And you're being asked to have courage and asked to have faith. And for anyone who's struggling with that right now, the raven or the crow is going to be your guide, and you're going to see their feathers. And maybe the peacock for some as well. And what does the peacock teach us to do? It teaches us to strut our stuff, right? And peacocks have a very magical energy as well. These are birds that have a real mystical, magical origin. So working your magic. Then we have benefactor, grace, and generosity. And with this card here, I'm feeling like somebody may get an opportunity. You may have somebody come through who wants to offer you something. And this came up in the Chiron retrograde video too, I think. Somebody who wants to offer you something that's going to help you progress. I wanted to say spiritually. So for some of you guys, this is like a mentor. For others of you, I feel like it could also be like a project. Like if you need investors in a project or something, somebody's coming through and offering. It's like the King of Pentacles energy. That can be often the energy that some people see as this benefactor energy. For some, this actually has to do with Jupiter as well, right? They call Jupiter the great benefic, or the great benefactor. So something to do with Jupiter and Aries. I feel like this person has a very Jupiterian energy to them. You know, like very expansive, very generous. So the analogy that I use, or the way that I like to describe the energy of Jupiter, is that Jupiter is like that jolly fat uncle that you have, who's just always in a great mood, always smiling and joking around, slipping you $20 bills when you see him again at a family reunion or something like that. He's got the fingers decked out in the gold, with the gold rings and that kind of an energy. So they have like that kind of a jolly, like open, optimistic, generous sort of an energy. Yeah. And for some people, this isn't going to be that obvious. It's just somebody in your life who brings you support, who brings you comfort, who shows up for you in those moments where you need somebody most. And the word grace is jumping out to me. So it's somebody who exudes and exhibits grace. They're gentle, they're kind, they're humble. And this is very Virgo energy, right? They stand up for you. They provide you. It's like a refuge. Somebody who shows up to be your refuge when you are in the eye of this storm. Or really, when you're being blown about by the storm, they help you to find the eye of the storm. That's where the wind is calm, right? And you can then view the situation from this place of calm and poise. So that energy of grace again. So for some people, Virgo season is sending you somebody to be a helping hand in some way, shape, or form. And for others, we're being called to be that person. How can we extend a hand out? How can we be somebody's refuge? How can we assist somebody that's in need? Whether this is a friend going through a rough time, whether this is a stranger that we see can clearly use help. How can we exhibit grace and generosity in every moment, in every area of our lives? That's what Virgo season is asking us to consider. It's the energy of not asking what can you do for me, but rather what can I do for you? Not from a place of depriving the self, of course, right? That's that balance that we talked about. I always have to bring that up whenever I say stuff like this in a reading, because I know we have a lot of overgivers on here in this tribe. We have Fortune's Wheel, which is like the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot. Luck and right timing, and I'm feeling this is that Jupiterian energy again, and that energy of divine timing. So it's like everything that's going on right now is the perfect storm that's leading you to the perfect place. And when you get to that perfect place in that perfect moment, you are going to recognize it. And when you recognize it, you are being called to act. Whether that means being of service, accepting help from somebody else, whether it means accepting an opportunity, creating a boundary. But for a lot of people, it's going to be accepting an opportunity. Opportunities knocking, that's what I just heard. Opportunities knocking, but are you going to answer the door? Yeah. This reminds me of an eclipse too, right? Moon blocking out the sun. We see the sun shining. It reminds me of like a Ring of Fire eclipse where you see the edge of the sun around the moon. And what do eclipses do? They eclipse things in and they eclipse things out, right? We have the lost compass, getting back to integrity, and the jeweled web, connectivity. And so this is a reminder for all of us during Virgo season that we are all interconnected. This is like the butterfly effect, right? Everything that we do affects everything and everyone else. So that when we're coming back into our integrity, it's like we're being called upon to remember that. To remember that our actions have consequences. And they're not just consequences for us, they're consequences for the whole. Everything that you do, everything that you don't do holds weight. I remember back when the whole Occupy movement was going on. That was right when I got clean from drugs back in 2011, where that was going on, and they were protesting Wall Street and everything that was going on with that, the bailout of the banks. I think during that time, they were really protesting anything and everything, right? But it was Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street. That's how it started. It was a really, really powerful time. And that movement just, it extended to encompass so much, right? And I think that that's something that happens with anything. At this point in time, there are so many injustices in this world that it's really hard to keep our focus. Okay, so this is a great example of the narrowing the focus, the laser vision that we're being asked to embody during Virgo season, right? Because there are so many injustices in the world, there's so much to protest. And this is why I think a lot of movements have struggled, because they start out with one goal, but there's so much injustice that everybody, when a movement gets big enough, everybody who has a passion about something that needs to change, and it's all valid, but they all come together and join together, but then the message gets skewed. And it gets sort of, then there's so many different things. And because the focus is so varied, nothing can actually get done. And of course, the media will jump all over that and use that as an opportunity to create division and paint these movements as being mismanaged and disorganized. They don't really know what they want, right? All of that stuff that we've heard so much. And so it's like, that's a great example of how singularity of focus can really get a lot accomplished. Right? We accomplish one thing, one major goal, and then from there we're able to continue to expand it. I don't know why else I went off on that tangent, except that it was a good... Oh, I remember now. So there were protests going on in different countries as well, and there was a girl that the news people interviewed, and she had a phrase. It was actually in Arabic written on her. And it said, essentially it translated to, silence is violence. And when I heard that 3 words, right? But they are so powerful. Silence is violence. And so for some people, that's what we're realizing. It's not what we do, it's what we don't do. It's not what we say, it's what we don't say that carries weight and that moves us away from our integrity. And so we're coming back into a place where we realize we don't have to. I mean, in this, it's a really weird place that we're at as a worldwide society, right? And definitely as a culture where I live in America, where it's like, there's so much, how do I want to put this? There's so much progressivism, but at the same time, we've gone back we've retracted so far in the way that people are afraid to speak anything that doesn't support what it is that the majority of people currently feel. They're afraid to contradict people in any way that's going to be, it's like we're afraid that people are going to jump on us if everything we say isn't 100% PC, if everything isn't approved and following the narrative that the general public supports, right? Even if we actually support that narrative, but we're playing devil's advocate, or we're offering up a different take on that situation, that's not welcome. And people are really afraid to speak their minds. There is no such thing as open debate, as being able to see each other's point of view and find a common ground. It's very much black and white, right? It's that over polarization that we experience as we begin to unify and blend and erase the energy of polarity, right? It gets more polarized first. So people who've been afraid to use their voice, who've been afraid to speak their truth, because maybe their truth isn't, they're afraid of how that's going to be perceived. They're afraid of the way that's going to make them look. I mean, we have people who are losing their jobs just for saying something that goes against the grain of what's expected to be said. Something, even if it's taken out of context, right? Like we have to walk on eggshells, really, when it comes to our speech and the ways that we deliver things. I don't know why I went off on a tangent about that, but that is what it is. It all has a time and a place, right? But it's like we're realizing how everything we do, everything that we don't do, everything that we speak, everything that we don't speak, how that all has an impact. And we're starting to really look at what is the impact, what is the legacy that I want to leave? All right. How do I stay true to myself? How do I share my truth in a way that feels authentic to me? This is where anywhere where we're living out of integrity, which means that we're not living our truth, we're going to be shown that, and we're going to be called to get back on track. It's going to feel so uncomfortable to live out of integrity as we continue to move forward. Last card out for this deck, Overflow, Overwhelm, and Plenty. I love that. There's that abundance evidence. You have the keys to the kingdom. Or during Virgo season, somebody's being given the keys to the kingdom. And it's when you come back into resonance, when you come back into integrity and harmony within yourself, that's the key to the kingdom. That's what unlocks the overflow. And then we have Heart Home on the bottom of the deck, Compassion. And yeah, here we go. See it, many masks. The authentic self. We're really being called to step back into our authenticity anywhere where we've stepped out of it for any reason. But to do everything that we do, to walk our talk with compassion. All right, what else do we want to pull for decks here? I wanted to grab a Lightworkers Oracle for you guys. So we're going to read from one of these. And then I might pull a couple cards from another deck as well. Or this could be the closer. We're going to see how we feel after we've pulled from this deck. Clear. All right, tell us about Virgo season. Oh, wait. Clear. Tell us about Virgo season 2022. What do we need to know? What is our tribe going through? What messages does Spirit have for those who will find this video? Oh, this is beautiful. So we have Star Child, and this has come out before this card, I believe. And then we have the Eternal Now. So presence, really be practicing presence during Virgo season is going to be so important. Virgo energy is an energy that tends to be trapped in the mind, right? If they're not careful. An energy like Virgo, and remember, especially when we're in Mercury retrograde as well, we have a lot of this mercurial energy that's going to be in the air. We want to, because the brain is going to be so stimulated, we need to, when you have a very active brain, when you have a very mercurial brain, you need to practice meditation, because that is, and I'm talking to myself right now as much as you guys, that is the key. That's what allows your mind to rest. That's what allows your mind to integrate all of the information. It's kind of like I see all of the information and all of the data, like the raw data, right? That's just being dumped in front of us. And we're trying to make sense of it. We're trying to put all the pieces together, right? We're getting exhausted doing it. So when we meditate, it's almost like the pieces start to arrange themselves. So it's really honestly like overblown Virgo energy might be like, no, we need to get this done. We need to get this done. I got 20 things on the list today. We got to get X, Y, and Z accomplished. This is going to lead to this, blah, blah, blah. So on and so forth, right? All of that energy. But it's like meditation may not feel productive, but it's actually the most productive thing, because a lot of those things, a lot of things will resolve or make themselves clear when we just take that time out to breathe and connect and be present. So it's really interesting here. We have Star Child and Soul Child on the bottom of the deck. So a lot of this child energy coming out. And we've just come out of Leo season, Leo and Cancer. Both energies that work with the inner child, right? So now there's a deeper level of healing available for our inner child. But I'm really feeling this as us connecting You see how we have the cosmos above and we have the earth below? Really connecting in with the different facets of our nature. Not just our inner child, but our star child. That aspect of us that resides in the stars. Our soul, right? And all the different aspects and variations of our soul and expressions of our soul energy in other dimensions, right? We access that all through the eternal now. The now moment is the moment where all of our power resides. It's the only moment that truly exists. And when we are able to focus in that now moment, we are able to hop timelines and dimensions and connect to absolutely anything. That's where everything really gets accomplished, is in the now moment. But there's something more here. I'm feeling into it. Being present with ourselves, with our loved ones, with our children, if we have children. I'm feeling that energy of the star children coming through too. I'm feeling like there's a special child who needs your love, who needs your time and your attention. For some people, this is you. This is your own inner child. For some people, this is your child. For some people, this is also like hybrid children. We don't talk about hybrid children a lot in here. My friend Nikki, who has a channel, Majestic Unicorn Healing, she talks about hybrid children a lot. Bridget Nielsen talks about hybrid children a lot. I'm starting to become a little more familiar with it. I think that I may have some hybrid children as well. And so what that is that we actually have extraterrestrial children who are not present on this earth right now. They're on other planets and in other places. And many of these hybrid children will be coming to Earth at the time that Earth is hospitable and welcoming for them. So for some people, this has to do with hybrid children. It's like your hybrid child or children are speaking to you and wanting to connect with you. For some, this also feels like if it's not your hybrid children or your actual children here, it's the children or the child that is yet to come that's reaching out to you. That's wanting to connect with you. Because you have a purpose together on this earth at this time. It's like they have messages for you. They have transmissions for you. Some of these may be through communication, but a lot of this is energetic transmissions that you're receiving from them. And perhaps that they're receiving from you as well. And for those who have children who are physically present in this world right now, one of the gifts that they're giving you is that they're teaching you how to be present in the now. Nobody is better at being in the now than a child. Nothing exists for them except for this moment right now. Yeah. This is about the children that are coming. Whether they're here yet or whether they're getting ready to arrive, who are going to help us to shift this reality, to truly bring heaven to earth, to teach us. Yes, we will be guiding. We've been training to guide and teach them and to help them remember. The veil is not as thick for them as it was for us. The veil is thinner. That energy of forgetting that we all sign up for when we come onto this planet. That veil can't quite. They can pierce that veil a lot more easily than we can, but they still need a little assistance sometimes, and so we're here to assist them in remembering. But more than that, they're here to help us remember. They're here to help us remember. We're being called to nurture them. Nothing heals your inner child better than a child, right? So pay attention to the children in your life. Guide them. Be open to receiving the transmissions from your unborn children as well as your incarnated children currently. Know that your souls are connected for a reason. Your souls have always been connected, and they came together at this time in order to accomplish something. It's like, I'm getting this energy of like, you think you're awake, but I'm going to really wake you up. You think you remember, but you've barely begun. Like, look into the eyes on this card. You are a child of the stars. Your children are of the stars. So this is us remembering our cosmic origins as well, and bringing that knowledge back, grounding that back into earth, utilizing that wisdom and the power of the now moment to create, to replenish the water here. I keep being drawn to the water trickling through her hands. That's the water of, that's nourishment, replenishment. Yeah. Yeah, some of the people watching this, right? Like, our children are very, very special. They're very special, and they really need to be nurtured. They're going to nurture us. They're activating us, but we're activating them too. And together our energy is activating this planet. Yeah, I'm considering in the future doing a YouTube channel for parents of starseed children. Because there's a lot of us right now. And there's a lot of ways that we're going to be growing and changing. There's a responsibility here to cultivate these children. And by cultivate, I don't mean groom and indoctrinate. I mean to assist them in expanding, giving them, allowing them the space to expand without constricting them. That's really what it is, because they don't need any assistance expanding. They're already expanded. Many of these children, they're already activated with the full 12 chakra system. They are burning bright, and it's our job just to nourish that light and keep it from being extinguished. Yeah, those of you who have not yet conceived your star child, rainbow child, crystal child, whatever you want to call it, their soul is connecting with you. Their soul wants to reach out to you. For some people, this is your hybrid child, wants to reach out to you, wants to connect with you. Whew, yeah, it's powerful. So take some time to get quiet, take some time to meditate, to be present in the moment, and allow the messages that your star child has for you to come through. Then we have karmic clearing, and power of the divine masculine coming out. So we're clearing a lot of old timelines, a lot of old karma associated with the expression of our masculine energy. This is Chiron and Aries energy right here. Chiron retrograde in Aries. This is a beautiful, profound healing for the divine masculine aspect of our nature, so that our masculine essence can step into its true and rightful energy as a protector, as a champion. So there's a lot of deep healing of our inner masculine energy and our relationship to masculine energy as well during Virgo season. For some people too, it's like your child is coming to assist you in clearing karma related to the expression of your masculine energy, or your relationship wounds and trauma around your relationship to masculine energy, to father energy for some. Your child's coming to heal that. And when we heal this aspect, we have a huge upsurge in our power, in our ability to, we talked about being able to be effective, to assert our will, right? But ultimately, we're being reminded it's our soul's will, our higher will that's activating, not our lower human ego-driven will, right? Spiritual service on the bottom of the deck. Really tapping into what unique ways we can be of service to the world around us, and understanding that a lot of times, and this is more, I'm telling you guys, check out that Chiron retrograde video. This is more of that energy too, right? Healing the wounds that prevent us from tapping into our gifts and abilities, healing any of the fear that prevents us from utilizing these abilities to assist the world. Yeah, then we have spiritual decree under that, and alchemical mutation, which is all about the ascension, right? Next level of our ascension process, and life path, which is once again about our spiritual service, you guys, our life mission. So that's really coming into focus during Virgo season for us. And the spiritual decree, this card also says, you get to make it so. You get to choose what is your spiritual path, what is your service. You get to choose what that is in this lifetime. I mean, you'll get some ideas, right? Our trauma, our wounds oftentimes lead us to our path of greatest spiritual service. Our natural gifts and abilities show us how we can be of service. And all of that starts developing, bringing it back to that self-love, self-acceptance piece that we talked about at the beginning of this video. When we learn how to love and accept ourselves, that allows us to stop hiding. When we heal the fear and the wounding, right? And we learn to love ourselves, that allows us to stop hiding. That allows ourselves to show up, allows us to show up in our authenticity, to be who we truly are. And that's when our gifts really start to emerge. Yeah, a lot of deep past life healing. That's what this karmic clearing is all about. For some too, it's like clearing this energy around the distorted masculine, this trauma, this wounding, these belief systems created by experiences of toxic or distorted masculine energy also brings in a counterpart for you. But this is about us really, really stepping into our hearts and stepping onto our paths. Beautiful. Beautiful reading, you guys. I'm super excited. I think that is going to wrap it up. That feels pretty complete to me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, drop a comment down below and let me know. If you're new to this channel and you like the vibe, then join the tribe. Click that subscribe bell. Make sure you hit the button with the little squigglies so you do get the notifications. All the usual things that I see. There are links below down below to donate. There's also a thanks button now on the videos, and so you can hit that if you want to make a donation, if you find that these videos are helping you. Also, share this with anybody you know that might resonate with this reading and the energies here. You guys are amazing. I love you. I appreciate you so very, very much. I am still technically out on maternity leave. I'm not sure when I'm going to be seeing private clients, sometime in the fall. If you want to get added to the wait list, just shoot me an email and let me know. My email and my website are linked below in the description box. So much love to each and every single one of you. I will talk to you all very soon. And still working out the mic stuff, so hopefully this video came through. I will get the sound figured out back out again sometime soon here, you guys. For now, it's still a little bit of trial and error, but I love you, and all of your support is so appreciated. You guys are so incredible. Yeah, I could go on about how much I love you guys for the next 25 minutes, but we are going to end this, so have a good night.